Yeah, I just wanted to have a little talk about God. Now, let me make this clear, I'm not religious. I've got nothing against religious people. I see religion as being a little bit of a school, but life is a school. But I'm not religious. I've always tried to find a connection to some kind of outside force, but never found it. Um, I have a lot of reason to have faith. I used to go rock climbing, and I did feel like something gave me courage and gave me wisdom and everything, and balance and everything to get up that hill. I think generally as human beings we are all very divine beings, very magical beings. When we say, oh, he's a wizard or a sorcerer or a magician, I think we're all magicians and wizards and sorcerers, and we're often using sort of like badly practiced magic without realizing it. And some people who know how to use magic kind of use it. But words and everything else, it's a magical realm. But like I say, I came on, it was this search for God, what's God? Now, if I look back through my life, I've always had something in me, like a stubbornness, a real conviction to go my way, whatever my way was. Take back in the school days, I used to bicycle 2 miles to school. And on the way there, I was maybe 10 years old or something. I'd bicycle to school, and a voice inside of me, a really strong impulse, would say, turn left, go down the next road, don't go to school, just go to the woods, go escape, just turn left. And it was almost pulling my bike around, trying to go left, but I knew I had to go to school and be there on time and get in the register. Well, some days I would turn left. A few years later, when I listened to rock music and got interested in guitar, that got even stronger to the point where I just decided not to go to school anymore, to drive back home, to hide in the attic of my parents' house with my guitar. I'd bought myself an electric guitar from my dinner money that I didn't need, and I was like learning guitar in the attic, And that learning the guitar led me in journeys with my band all across Europe and stuff. So, the best thing I ever did as a kid was to not go to school and learn guitar, in my opinion. Later on, that same stubborn voice inside of me would tell me, it would just guide me. It wouldn't guide me, it would just stop me from doing other things. I want to do this and I want to do that. And so when I was a kid, I used to think this was the devil, like Satan himself inside of me saying, don't go to school, Steve, you are the nasty one, you are the evil one, you don't want to go to school, you don't want to be educated, you don't want to be normal, you don't want to be like the other children, you want to be the devil. That's how I felt. For years, actually, for years. I still couldn't work out what this stubborn voice in me was. Now, there was times in the pub, and now this is a time you can relate to. Who's your daddy? Who's father? Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. This is the question. So you sat in the pub, and you've got a few mates, and you're having a drink, and you maybe had one beer, and you should drive or something, or you should go home and go somewhere. You've got an appointment, and your friends are saying, "Come on, just have one more beer, just have one more beer," and just have one more beer. And inside you think, "Oh, I'd love to have one more beer with the lads and lasses. I'd love to sit in the pub and talk about old times and But there's another voice inside of you, like the fatherly voice, saying, "Really, you've had enough to drink, and it would be the most sensible and logical thing to say, leave the party while it's going well, keep in time, and get home and carry on normally. Don't drink that other beer." The voice, a deep fatherly voice, don't drink that beer. And so there's two voices, like an angel and the devil. But which one's the devil, which one's the angel? So there's the voice saying, have a beer with the lads. And there's the other voice saying, be sensible. Now there's yourself. You're able to see these two. So obviously it's like two worlds, and then you're director's cut of that world, if you know what I mean. You're able to then choose, do I have another beer or do I stay with my friends? You've got two voices, the Son and the Father. It's not your like biological father because you're old enough now to drink beer. You need to decide for yourself. It's not the government as a father figure because it's not making beer drinking illegal at that point. So it's like the father inside that's guiding me, guiding you, telling you what's right and wrong a lot of the time. But can you be sure that that's not the devil? Can you be sure that that's, the divine voice, the Lord or whatever? Which Lord? Is it the Dark Lord? Is it the Lord of the Manor? Is it the Lord of the school or the Lord of the land? Is it the Lord of the government? Or is it that what they explain in the Bible to be the only one true Lord? I don't know. I'm not religious. The Bible's new to me. The concept of God is new to me. But here I am thinking all my life, something's been stopping me from having fun. Something's been directing me down this adventure that is a wonderful adventure. When you start submitting to that stubbornness that you've got and to do the things that you need to do, when you start submitting to that, life does become wonderful. But you can't just, for me, free will is not a choice if I can do anything willy-nilly. I've got the free will to follow somebody else's will or follow my Father's will, my Father in heaven, my Father in the mind. You see in the Bible it says heaven and earth, mind and matter. It's talking about two places, but when we're like in this world now, the only place we don't talk about is here, where all of these these voices are going on. Because nobody wants to talk about the voices, because nobody wants to say, I've got two voices in my head, conflicting. Because that would be then a psychological weakness. So this is something that I feel that society has done to us, is made us feel guilty for having two opposing voices or something. Or we've made ourselves feel guilty. Like I was saying, in school I thought the devil was speaking to me. Don't go to school. Look at these words are like trying to hypnotise you. The teachers following commands. All of these things I'm telling myself that I'm bad for thinking that. But then when I start peeking in the Bible, I find out that Jesus is saying the same kind of shit that I was saying in school. I'm thinking, this guy's spot on it. He's turning the tables over in the money changers temples. He's, people are selling birds of birds of peace and, pigeons of messengers and stuff. It's all been corrupted just like Jesus was saying, and I'm not even religious, but there it is in the book. So can it be that this whole paper world system, this whole paper chase is knows about your two voices in your head, but is just playing tricks with you on it? Don't know. But this was the point where I thought, I know God too well. If that's what you want to call him, God, Lord, divine, I don't give a shit. When he doesn't even like that name, God, to be honest. But there's definitely a voice inside of me that's talking to me now and telling me to say this shit to you. Because I know I'm talking to me, and we're talking to the same divine entity, I'm sure, because otherwise you would turn it off and go and watch Pokemon or something more entertaining. But you can relate, and not people. Other people talk about divine energy and force and the New Age. Yeah, all of that's okay. It's all metaphysical. It's all energy. But the point of it is that voice inside of you. It's a clear voice. At times, not always it leaves you, but at times you can notice there's just such a clear voice inside, and that needs to be questioned. If that voice is saying the same thing as your heart, your mind, your soul, and all what everyone else is, it comes together. Whatever, you know what I'm on about. I'll just leave it there because I just tend to waffle on anyway, and you probably know what I mean. But at the same time, as much as you know what I mean, it really isn't prevalent in society. People are really fixed into this idea that they have to be somebody, rather than that they are already somebody getting this inspiration. The things I'm saying to you, from the inside out. You just need somebody else to clear the windows and to remind you of yourself. Same as I need someone to remind me of myself. And if I say something in this video and I get a few likes and stuff, then I can watch it back and say, it wasn't wrong. And I can watch myself even, or watch someone else's responses, whatever, we're human, But like I say, I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.